as long as I'm here, I want to talk about The Maze Runner, The Death Cure. I just saw it. I don't get to see most movies opening weekend, but I really liked the first two movies in this series. And so I just really wanted to see it, and I really wanted to see movies, so I went, and it was good. And so I'm just going to talk real quick about the first couple movies, which if you had asked me before, I would have said like the main things that I liked about them were the fact that they were so action-packed, and they really are. And that's true of this movie as well. And the thing is, they do such a good job like creating like the feeling in the audience, like creating a tone in the movie of like you know, like the characters are constantly kind of being cornered, and you kind of feel like, how are they going to get out of this? And I hope they get out of this. And yeah, and then the second thing, my second like favorite thing that I would have said was my favorite thing about this series was Dylan O'Brien, who is really a wonderful actor. He oh, I'm sorry. He has this way of delivering lines that if anyone else delivered them, they would be kind of cheesy, but he has the ability to deliver them and make them sound really genuine and heartfelt and powerful and not cheesy. So that's awesome. I love him. I love his acting. And then, I mean, also I like the character of Thomas. I like how he is really brave and heroic and like kind and empathetic, and really cares about the others. And that's, you know, what I've come to realize about this from watching this movie, The Death Cure. Thomas has like all these people around him who, the thing is, like, I would have described it as being action-packed before, but now I want to describe it as being heroism-packed, because everyone's being a hero all the time. They're like always never leaving anyone behind. This whole movie is about, you know, saving as many people as they can while trying to save just one person, just their friend, and the lengths that they go to save even just one of their friends. And I think that that's awesome. You don't that doesn't actually happen that much in movies, and it's really, like, for me, it's like a fantasy, like, being like, I mean, because I want to be able to feel that way and to like go all out in my quest to like help people that I care about, but I don't have anyone that I care about. Or like maybe like one or two people, but not still, you know. Anyway, so like, because I mean, it is action-packed, but it's, because, you know, it's still like every time that they get cornered and stuff, you totally fall for like the end of the line thing that the movie's trying to make you think is happening. But then, you know, like the cavalry comes in like a really well executed and foreshadowed way. Like nothing just comes out of the blue to save them. Like the cavalry just doesn't appear. It is foreshadowed, so it's not cheating at all. It's just that you kind of tend to forget like the foreshadowing because you get so swept up in like the moment and like the action and all the stuff happening. So I thought that was really good. But like I said, I think it's more heroism-packed because these characters are like really kind and empathetic. I have notes over here. So and you know, nobody's like really arrogant or like, so that it makes it less cringy for me, because I feel like bravado kind of often goes before the fall. So when I see like these characters like the Avengers who you know, are like super, you know, they just like have a lot of bravado and they're like saving the world and stuff, and it's like, I feel like in real life that you guys wouldn't be doing as well if you were taking this much time to have so much bravado. And you know, pride goes before the fall, right? So so I just, like, every time I see them kind of like doing the whole "look at me, we're so cool" thing as they're saving the world, I'm like, I feel like that would be like the end of the line for you, and it kind of makes me cringe. So in this movie, they don't do that as much. They're kind of more down to earth, and they have like more of a kind spirit to them. And so everything they do is sort of like, it's in the name of like saving people and being good people, and so it makes more sense to me that they are so successful. Anyway, so like I was saying, again, like, it's heroism packed because all the main characters, you know, all the boys from the maze, and you know, the guy who plays Gus Fring in Breaking Bad, and then the Hispanic girl who they're friends. All these people in this movie are like really empathetic and kind and good-hearted, and go all out to save, you know, people. As it's as if they, you know, can imagine themselves being in that position and know that if they were in that position, they would want other people to do everything they could to like save them. And so they do everything they can to save the person in that position. And, you know, that's empathy. That's and so and in the end, you know, like, Thomas does go out of his way to like save all of these people again and again, and then at the end they come back to save him. So it, like, you know, that was nice. But like, it is kind of a fantasy for me to like live in a world where everyone is like really nice, right? But it is also, I mean, it's a fantasy, it's not realistic, and that's what I wanted to talk about next. Like, at the end, Newt wrote this letter where he was talking about how after he saw Thomas run into the maze in the first Maze Runner to save I don't know, it was, I think it might have been Minho. So yeah, and he talked about after he saw him running into the maze, he knew that he would follow Thomas anywhere. And the thing is, I loved hearing that because it is kind of like a fantasy because, you know, you want to think that after you showed like a great amount of like bravery and heroism and kindness and empathy, that other people would want to follow you, right? But the fact is that by this point in my life, I know better than to like put my neck on the line for everybody, because not everybody deserves it, and most people will not follow you if you put your neck out there. So I'm just saying, that's real life, and this is a fantasy, and it's a nice fantasy that I liked, but so I feel like the blush is getting worse. I can't anyway. And it's nice because I didn't even see anyone eating any animal products in this movie, and I can't remember them eating any animal products in any of the movies, and that's nice because like seeing that even just for like brief moments in movies always brings my mood down, so that didn't happen. It didn't bring my mood down at all in this movie by doing that. Like, at the end they're eating corn, which is great. So, you know, there were no downer moments where people were eating animal products in this movie. And I'm really glad that they had Spanish-speaking people. They had, you know, Gus Fring and the Hispanic girl who's going to be in Alita Battle Angel, and I really liked both of them in this movie, and I liked that they had, you know, that kind of representation in the movie. And I didn't love them in the second movie where they were introduced, but in this movie they were super cool, especially the girl. Like, because in the second movie they were kind of jerks, but in this one they were, you know, being heroes just right along with everyone else. Oh, and she did a good job acting too, like with her facial expressions, like when she was having that conversation with Thomas on the walkie-talkie, and she said, and he said, you know, even if you should, I don't know if that's a spoiler if I say that, But and then, you know, her expression in that moment like really spoke to me. Like, you know, I mean, you'll see, you'll know it when you see it, and you'll understand. I think she did a really good job. And then they teased like a possible sequel, or like, I guess this is a sequel, but like a sequel to the sequel is like a new movie. And I would be open to that, especially if they got like a little bit deeper with the characters, because I have really liked these last few movies, because they've been super action-packed and fun. But I like the characters, and they're really heroic, and they care a lot about their friends, and, you know, like all the stuff that I was saying. But they also don't really delve very deeply into any of the characters, like psychology and relationships. Like it's all fairly surface level, and I mean, from what you see on the surface, there's clearly a lot going on underneath, and they're good people underneath. There's a giant squirrel. So I would like it if they would sort of go a little bit deeper into all the characters, like psychology and thoughts, because like after all of this, they're gonna have like some issues, and I would like it if they would explore that. I think it'd be awesome, but who knows? I mean, I don't even know how well this movie's gonna do, to be honest, just because like the first movie did the best, and then the second movie didn't make as much money, and then I don't know about this one. I think you should go see it and support it, and maybe if you do, it'll do better, because it's really good. But yeah, and it is kind of violent, just as a warning. There's like a fair amount of torture, and so yeah, and that's like my only problem with these movies, is that they can get like kind of violent. And I can't wait to own like the box set of all three of them now that they're all out. They're gonna release a box set of them at some point, and I'm excited, because they have a lot of rewatchability, and I've only watched the first one more than once, so I'd like to watch them all again. Yeah, it was good. You should see it. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. Okay, I'm gonna go. Bye! And oh, another thing is that I'm really glad that Teresa died. If they had saved Teresa and everyone had kind of like accepted her back and been like, oh, you know, I wouldn't have liked the movie as much as I did, because she deserved to die. And at the end, it was still kind of a downer at the end, just because like I realized that, you know, they've been fighting to like get to a safe place, and I was like rooting for them to get to a safe place the whole time, but then they ended up being like living in hutches, kind of like, and they looked fairly well developed, but like at the same time I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of what they were fighting for, and I personally don't really see the point of living if you don't have indoor plumbing. But, you know, I'm glad, you know, anyway. No, it's fine. It's to each their own. If you can see a point of living in hutches without indoor plumbing. I don't know, maybe they did have indoor plumbing. I see this happens even when I'm just voice recording. I get more and more excited, and my face doesn't get red usually, but it is now. I'm so sorry. Okay. Still blushing. I can't help it. I'm gonna, when I get more used to being on camera, it'll